President Nasheed resigned after meeting his cabinet and also after conveying his desire to resign to some of the members of the diplomatic corps in a press briefing given to the local and international media. In his resignation speech, he said that he has come to realize that staying as the president could subject the nation and the people to a lot of harm, and he has decided to resign as the president of Maldives. Prior to announcing his resignation, he wrote his letter of resignation in the president's office and sent his handwritten letter of resignation to the Speaker of Parliament. The Constitution stipulates that the Vice President must shoulder the responsibilities of the presidency should the serving president resign before the completion of his term. The same afternoon, Vice President Muhammad Wahid was sworn in as president according to the Constitution in front of the Speaker of Parliament. His oath of office was administered by the Chief Justice. However, 24 hours after his resignation and after holding discussions with party activists, the President Nasheed that came out to address the party supporters was a changed man. The president who resigned in good faith for the greater good of the nation was replaced by a party activist who accused that he was made to resign at gunpoint. He literally told members of the press that guns were pointed at him, and had he not resigned, his life would have been in danger. He subsequently changed his statement on the 9th of February to say that he meant that metaphorically. The poise and sincerity that was seen when he resigned on the 7th was replaced with anger and bitterness towards those whom he claimed to have staged a coup d'etat. The second phase of President Nasheed that was seen on the 8th was that of an activist who tries to get what he wants through the use of force. With this change of stance, his party supporters and the former government officials took to the streets, accusing the police and MNDF of taking bribes to aid the coup d'etat. The confrontation between the police and the rioters near the Republic Square on the evening of the 8th of February was aired by the Maldivian Democratic Party's mouthpiece Raja TV, and the excessive force that was used to disperse the crowd was shown repeatedly as police brutality. In the meantime, a rumor was started as breaking news by Raja TV stating that 2 people from Addu city were killed in the clashes with the police. This enraged the people of Addu to the extent that their relatively peaceful demonstration turned into a rioting mob which set fire to police stations, court buildings and all police vehicles that they encountered, and resulted in damages to the effect of 200 million rupiah and irrecoverable damages in loss of legal documents. Some MDF vehicles and police vehicles were also attacked in Malé, and some private motorcycles of policemen were set afire and burned. Looking at the series of events that unfolded on the 8th, we can clearly see that those events did not just unfold spontaneously, rather the events were very much premeditated and were orchestrated with the help of the propaganda that was aired by Raj TV. The MDP supporters have already boycotted all other TV channels, hence the only news and information that they got and believed in came from Raj TV. The days that followed the 8th of February were again relatively peaceful as a lot of international attention was diverted to the Maldives. Indian and American high-level delegations tried to calm the situation and convince all parties to resolve the issue through dialogue. 2 notable individuals that helped bring about a change in the security situation were the Indian Foreign Secretary Ranjan Mathai and the American Assistant Secretary of State Robert Blake. On the 14th of February, President Nasheed and his supporters staged a relatively calm demonstration in the main roads of Malé. Subsequently, on the 17th of February, the supporters of MDP started conducting a 24-hour campaign named Insaf Ke Datur, Journey Towards Justice at the southeastern corner of Malé, condemning the process of change of power and accusing that it was a coup d'etat. During the first day of the Journey Towards Justice, a crowd of around 5,500 were gathered at the area. When President Nasheed realized that he still commands the support of a relatively large group of people, demonstrations were planned and carried out in the streets of Malé to pressure the government to move towards a snap election. The coalition of parties that formed the government also staged a demonstration on the artificial beach area on the 24th of February to show support for the government, and the strength of the crowd that gathered there was estimated at 12,000, the largest gathering of people ever orchestrated in Maldives. MDP also tried to strengthen their numbers at the southeastern corner, and their crowd was also fairly large at around 4,500. When President Nasheed realized that the numbers were in favor of the coalition, his tactics changed. Rather than using large crowds of predominantly male activists, he introduced the MDP women-only demonstrations the very next day. The psyche behind it was that force could not be used by the security forces to stop the women demonstrators. Initially, the women demonstrators were left to continue unchallenged by the security force. On the 1st of March 2012, Parliament was scheduled to open as per Constitution. The President is required by law to deliver the presidential address at the opening session of Parliament and declare the Parliament open. Since 17th February, former President Nasheed and members of Parliament from MDP have made it very clear that they will not allow President Wahid to deliver his presidential address. As the day broke, MDP supporters gathered at all avenues of approach to the Parliament building. Members of Parliament from MDP had a meeting with former President Nasheed in his residence right before they came to the chamber. When President Wahid arrived, some of the MPs of MDP came out and tried to block his way, but the President's security team was able to get the President into the Deputy Speaker's office with no harm. MDP members dismantled the setup in the chamber and removed the chairs designated for cabinet ministers and other distinguished guests from the chamber. They removed President's chair and flags from the chamber as well. In addition, MDP members brought the President's chair onto the entrance of the chamber and sat on it to block the entrance. Despite several attempts by the Speaker to enter the chamber, MDP members physically blocked his way and refused his entrance into the chamber. After about 8 hours of unsuccessful attempts, with the advice of Counsel General and other legal personnel present, Speaker requested assistance from MNDF to enter the chamber. But this attempt was again blocked physically by MPs of MDP. Following that, on the order of the Speaker, MNDF removed 2 MDP members from the chamber who were blocking the entrance. MDP Parliamentary Group leader requested MNDF to stop removing MPs and let him talk to the Speaker. After their discussion, Speaker decided to call off that opening session. President returned from Parliament after waiting there for 10 hours to deliver the presidential address. Meanwhile, MDP protesters outside the Parliament building attacked several personnel of the security forces. 17 of them suffered mild to severe injuries. Police arrested some of the violent protesters and later found out that some of them were intoxicated. After witnessing the professionalism of the security forces in handling the violent protesters on the 1st of March, President Nasheed realized that the security forces would not use excessive force. He again changed his tactics. On the 4th of March, he sent protesters towards the police headquarters after handcuffing them using plastic cuffs. The protesters were asking to be arrested to join their colleagues who were arrested on the 1st of March. The police did not arrest them and they were not allowed to enter the Republic Square. When the silent treatment failed, President Nasheed and his followers again changed tactic. He started using highly mobile mobs of 50-odd motorcycles and crowds of 100 to 200 to harass the government ministers and their families. These crowds gathered in front of the ministers' residences during the night and threw stones and shouted slogans till around 3 o'clock in the morning. The defense minister is a very popular target for the MDP mobs. On the 6th of March, the MDP lady protesters gathered in front of the Human Rights Commission to voice their discontent with the way the Commission is handling the cases of the alleged use of force by the security forces. When they came in front of the President's office in the guise of giving a letter to the President, they were allowed to come to the President's office. However, after delivering the letter, they sat in front of the President's office and continued their protest. The area in front of the President's office is out of bound for protests and they were cleared from the area with the use of force. The next night, Galur police station was attacked by the MDP mobile mob on motorcycles and they went back into the MDP stronghold on the southeastern corner to avoid arrest, thinking that the area would be a safe haven for them. However, the police entered the area and arrested the violators. Although Nasheed and his followers in MDP claim that the current government is illegal, elected president of MDP, Dr. Ibrahim Didi, says that the current government is a unity government established to include several political parties. In an audio which surfaced in local media, Dr. Didi clearly states events that unfolded on the 7th of February which led to President Nasheed's voluntary resignation. He states that the current government is not a government established through military coup and that upon looking at the countries where military coups have taken place, it would clearly indicate that the transfer of power in Maldives on 7th February did not take place through such a coup.
Military dictatorship ka danakam kalona gabuda nukarawe sabavati miyadu vedikam gati devi ki pamana military bharatake ke befun nu den faharuga tiswaru ufedeni by befun kala tuhmat qura gotuga kulunna sifan lena barawatake guna e adu tankole barukom e adu ivedi e focus kuragin ufedeni swala faharuga vedana ekam ko ei ehem oikam nunkam pennanga bedatto gune gehenen gamtawa military kuwe vichya military leader dekko anas gawan pura ehenen no miyadu miyadi adahama unity government ek gota magana hama siyasi leaderum imenoda nawa e bekun nati e gawan pura stakeholder goduga tibege puriyata averikaman එහෙම මේ ඉදාළු ඉස්සන්නට ඒකට බෙදාන කම අරුණක ලබුදෙන් කොරේ ආද සිකතක අධිකරණ කන්නතන.
Now he is again bringing the ladies to the forefront and using less violent tactics, and we are facing a period of calm and tranquility. But it remains to be seen when President Nasheed will get tired of this calmness and decide to bring about more excitement to his followers.